Hello viewers, good to have you here today. Today we are looking at JAMB related topics in economics. The first topic we are looking at today is economic system, the system of economics. It's basic and very fundamental to this subject, economics. Alright? Now we have three types of economic system. One, we have the capitalist. Two, we have the socialist. And three, we have the mixed economic system. Now, let me tell you something about this. The nomenclature, the title, the name, could be used in objective question, your JAMB question, different ways. And you could be confused to know which one is which. For instance, this capitalist is also known as a liberal economy, or you call it laissez-faire economy, laissez-faire, or you call it open economy, right, or capitalists. While for these socialists, you can call it command economy, command. You can call it controlled economy, okay, public economy. These are words that are used associated with socialists. Are you with me? Very well. Okay. In this place, basically, we have free markets. We have what we call price mechanism. What is price mechanism? When nobody fixed price, you allow the two forces, invisible hands in the market, to determine the price. And what are the two invisible hands in the market? The demand and supply. So when they meet, they determine the price. That's under capitalists. While under socialists, we have price control as opposite of price mechanism or price system. Price mechanism or price system. Okay? So what is a capitalist system? It is a system where private individuals control a means of production, distribution, and exchange of goods and services. It is a system where individuals provide solutions to the basic problems facing the society. You know, you cannot discuss economic system without making reference to the problems in the society. Okay? So when private individuals provide solutions to these economic problems in their society, we call it what? Capitalist economy. So we have capitalist state like the US. Okay. Then we have socialist economy. In this case, it is the government, or you say the public, that provides solutions to the problems in the society, or that control the available means of production, distribution, and exchange of goods and services. Are you with me? Very well. So, when you talk about the basic economic problems, we are talking about what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce, and of course, efficiency in the allocation of the available resources. So, who provides solution to these problems determine the system of economy you operate in your country. Who provides solution to these problems of what to produce? What are we supposed to produce? How are we supposed to produce it? Are we using labor intensive or capital intensive? For whom are we producing it? For children, for adults, for old age? How are we able to allocate the available resources efficiently for proper use? So these problems will be solved under capitalism by the private individuals. And these private people are also known as what? The bourgeoisies. The bourgeoisies. okay, the capital owners. Like in Nigeria, we have the likes of Dangote, Otedolas, Adenugas, and the rest of them. Okay? Very well. While for the socialist states, these problems, solutions are being provided by who? By the government, the public. Alright? But for a mixed economy, it is a system where both the private and the public, that is individuals and government, jointly cooperate to provide solutions to these problems of the economy. They jointly control the available means of production, distribution, and exchange of goods and services. Nigeria is said to be operating mixed economic system. Alright? Oftentimes, most countries that were socialist before, on their process, on their journey to become capitalists, at a point to be a mixed economy. Alright? So that is economic system and economic problems. I hope I'll be able to highlight it for you in this form. So I'm advised to go deeper by reading your textbooks to get deeper understanding about this. Okay, so let's look at if we can try our hands on some likely questions on this topic in JAMB. You know, oftentimes JAMB is more or less applicable questions. It's applied applicable questions. You get the understanding and you apply. It's not other direct like WAEC. Okay? You need to understand the question for you to answer it. So let's look at it. A country allows private businesses to operate freely, but the government regulates industries such as healthcare, education. So which economic system best describes this? This is a very simple English language. Here they mention the two major operators in the economy. One, the private business owners. Two, the governments. While the private operating their businesses, government regulating certain industries like this and this. So which means there's a collaboration between the government and of course the private. So what kind of system do you call that? Is it market economy? No. Command economy? No. Traditional economy? No. It is mixed economic system because there's cooperation between the public and of course the private. Option D is the correct answer, mixed economic system. So you can see that this is an applied question. You need to understand it. For you, it's typical JAMB question, alright? Not like WAEC or NECO. Which situation best illustrates a command economy? You have to apply now. In all these four statements, which of them can you say is a command economy? Remember what I said earlier, what's a command economy? The socialist economy, right? Where government or public is in control. Prices change based on consumer demand. Families produce goods the same way they have for generations. The government sets production quotas for factories. Individuals choose careers based on personal interests. Which one is command? Government control here. Option C, the government sets targets, quotas, production for the factories, for industries. And that is only workable in a country where they already have estimated population of their countries and their categories. So when you are producing napkin, for instance, for babies, they will give you regulations on how to go about it. Unlike Nigeria, where you cannot say a certain what number are we, the population of Nigeria. It's unfortunate. Okay? Very well. In a pure market economy, pure markets, which factor most directly determines what goods are produced? When we say pure, the word pure here means in a perfect market. In a perfect market. Okay? Government planning, cultural tradition, that's for traditional economy. Consumer demand, availability of natural resources. The answer is what? Consumer demand. What does or what does the consumer want? What are the required needs in society? That should be what will propel what the producer will produce. Okay, what the consumer demands, what they want. Option C is correct answer. The next question. Why do most modern economies avoid being purely market or purely command system? Purely market, that is perfect market or perfect command. Perfect market, that is perfect capitalist and perfect command. And not many countries are not. Even in the developed countries, even America that we're saying a capitalist country, America has a way of regulating some aspect of the economy. Okay, so quote and unquote, we cannot have pure market like that or perfect economy like that system. So why do most modern economies avoid being a pure or a perfect market economy? Citizens prefer traditional economies? No. Pure system often fail to meet all societal needs efficiently. Natural resources limited. Resources are evenly distributed, they are never evenly distributed. This is already wrong because they are never evenly distributed. Technology eliminates the need for government involvement. That is wrong. Okay, so the answer is option B. Most of the time, the perfect or the pure system cannot even meet all the needs of the people efficiently. Remember, human wants are unlimited, but the means to satisfy these wants are limited. That's why we have limited resources chasing after what? Unlimited wants. And we say what? Human wants are what? Insatiable. Can never be satisfied. Because as a satisfying one, you are in need of another. So there can be a pure or a perfect market in that sense. Okay. Alright. So option B is the correct answer. Now, let's quickly run from our time now. Let's run to the next topic that is always coming out in JAMB. The second one is the theory of demand and of course of supply. You can't talk about demand and not talk about supply. It's like, the opposite side of the coin. What is demand? Demand is a situation whereby as the price increases, the quantity demand what? Decreases. The higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded, and vice versa. What is vice versa? The lower the price, the more quantity are demanded. In other words, consumers are willing and ready to buy more when the price is cheap, is low. And as the price is going up high, they tend to withdraw from buying that particular product. That is what demand is talking about. Alright? Then you should also understand the difference between demand and wants. Okay? Wants are your desires. Okay? But demand are your ability to buy. If I would call effective demand. Effective demand is talking about your desire back up with ability to pay. So wants are desire, while effective demand are what? Desire back up with ability to pay. People desire so many things. Remember that popular words that if wishes were horses, even the beggar will ride on it. Okay? So people desire so many things. So people ask them, what do you want? I want an aeroplane. But can you buy an aeroplane? You can't. Okay? Anyway, people say find it difficult to understand the difference between their wants and also their needs. So effective demand has to do with your ability to pay for what you want, what you desire, as at the time you desire it. That's effective demand. Okay? The major factors that affect demand from explanation today is what? Is the price. The price of a product is a major factor that affects the demand for that product. The price goes up or comes down, determine the quantity the consumer will buy. Okay, who is demanding? The consumer. Alright? Apart from price being a factor, other factor will also be taste. The taste or the fashion of consumers is also a factor that affects quantity demanded for a particular product. Sometimes, possibly, price of other products, particularly if it's elasticity. When you talk about elasticity of demand, elasticity is talking about the change the coefficient change in price as related to or quantity demanded as related to price, or coefficient change in income as affect what? The demand. Another factor that affects demand is income. I've mentioned taste and function. Income. When consumers receive more income, the tendency for them is to do what? Is to spend more money, is to buy more. That means demand will increase when there is what? Income, more income. Another factor that will affect demand is tax. For instance, in Nigeria today, there's a new tax bill, operational, that started 2 or 3 days ago, 2026. Okay? Government says it's going to reduce tax for poor people and get more money, more tax from the rich people. That's pay as you earn. We're still in it, we're watching and see as it goes. But the more government increases tax, the lesser disposable income. This is what I call disposable income of the consumer. So when you pay more of your money as tax, you have less money to spend. And when you have less money to spend, you have less to demand. So these factors also affect what? Demand, apart from price. But price is a basic factor that affects demand. Still on demand, we have what they call changes in demand and shifts in demand. When it's called changes in demand, I cannot do without drawing a diagram with this. Anyway, somebody says, "Have you ever shown us demand diagram?" This is demand diagram, not regular normal demand diagram, showing the higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded, based on the law of demand, and vice versa. Okay, so when you talk about changes in demand, we are talking about changes in quantity demanded as a result of what? Changes in price. So price is a major factor that brought about changes. And these changes is known as what? Movement along a demand curve. This movement could be upward, could also be what? Downwards. A downward movement means what? There is increase in quantity demand. Normally, this quantity demand is on price. And that increase is as a result of what? A reduction in price. This is price here. Okay. While the upward is what? A decrease in quantity demanded because there's what? Increase in price. So, upward movement along the same curve leads to what? Backwards or leftwards in the quantity demanded, a reduction in demand. While downward movement along that curve will lead to what? Increase in quantity demanded as a result of what? Fall in price. That's what we call changes in demand. But when you talk about shift in demand, the shift in demand is talking about a situation where the price is constant, but yet we have several demands. Q1, Q2, Q3. Alright? Or this will be Q1, then this Q2, then this Q3. Why the price is constant. Somebody will ask why? Demand, but you told me that it's only price that brought about change in demand. No, I didn't say that. I said ordinarily, price is the major factor that brought about changes in demand or in quantity demanded. But when other factors are applied, like taste or fashion, like income, like tax, or price of or competitive product, then you have a situation like this, whereby there could be what? Rightward shift or backward shift. This is what we call shift. This one along the same curve is called what? Movement along the same curve is called changes in demand. Why this shifts? This is D1, okay, D1, this is D3, D3, this is D2, D2. This backward shift or forward shift, or you call it rightward shift or back or leftward shift, is talking about the changes that take place in demand, not as a result of changing price, because the price is constant, but as a result of other factors affecting what? Demand. Okay? So the same also applies to what? Supply. You know, supply is opposite of demand. In this place, we said that in demand, the higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded. But for supply, it is the higher the price, the greater the quantity supplied. Why? The seller here is always ready to sell more at a higher price, while the buyer is ready to buy more at a lower price. You can see the contradiction between two of them. And that is why there's always a need for us to have a balance and the balance is called equilibrium. Equilibrium is the point where the buyer is the price, equilibrium price is the price where the buyer is ready to buy and the seller is ready to what? Sell. We call it equilibrium price. Equilibrium point is the point where supply curve intercepts demand curve. This is supply curve. It's opposite. You can see the supply curve is this way. Can you see this supply curve? While demand curve is this. This is demand curve. Can you see it now? So the point of their intersection is called the equilibrium point. At that price where they agree is called equilibrium price. At that quantity where they agree is called equilibrium quantity. Are you with me? Very well. So that is supply. As I explained this to you for demand, the same is also applicable to what? To supply. Okay? Rightwards or leftwards, backwards or frontwards, or forward shifts, either in demand or supply, based on all these factors that I've mentioned. These factors affect both supply and demand. Okay, another factor that affects supply is the cost of production. When the cost of production is very high, what will happen to the price? The price also will become very high. Are you there? Technological advancement can also affect supply. When there's technological advancement, it means that they cannot produce with technology, possibly at a lower cost. So what we expect to happen now? They produce more. And when they produce more, we expect that the cost of production is low, so the price will come down. Are you with me? So these are theory of demand and supply. I will advise that you read further on electricity and elasticity of demand and supply, which is talking about the changes that happen in demand. That's why I went here. As a result of either change in price or change in income. Okay? Where you have percentage change in quantity demand, okay, over percentage change in what? Price, there is price. So please take note of that. Percentage change in quantity demand, percentage change in price, that's 100/1. That's how you find your, what do you call it? Your elasticity. We have treated this, some of our questions earlier in WAEC, we treated elasticity of demand. And some of these questions were also treated. I'm talking about essay questions were treated on this. Please check down the line our videos. You will see this question there. Okay? Then we also need to remind ourselves the types of demand and types of supply. We cannot talk about demand and supply without looking at their types. Okay? Types or kinds or forms. We have what we call composite supply. The word composite supply or derived demand. Composite supply means that what you're getting one item will help you to supply many other items. Derived demand means when you demanded for a product, not because of that product will be safe, but because of what you are going to get from it. Your demand for the product is not for the product itself, but for what you're going to get from it. For instance, if you demand for cassava, from cassava you know a lot you're going to get. Cassava can also apply for composite supply. Or another one for derived demand is money. Why do you demand for money? You want to eat money? No. You demand for money because money will help you to satisfy your wants. You can use it to buy items you want. Okay. Then what's something we call joint or complementary demand. From the word joint. 2 items or more that needed to be combined for you to get a utility. When we talk about utility, utility means in economies satisfaction. Now, for you to get a better satisfaction, 2 or more products need to be combined together. Okay. For instance, you want to eat rice and stew, bread and beans, then they are sugar. They are jointly demanded so as to give what? Satisfaction. And when you talk about joint supply, you talk about car and petrol. At least they are jointly together for you to enjoy full satisfaction. Another type of demand you can talk about is competitive demand. Competitive demand. In other words, demand that has what? Close substitutes. That is either you consume this or the other. When you talk about toothpaste, McLean or close-up, or talk about picnic or loyal milk. they are competitive. And you know that the price in a competitive product, the price of one affects the demand for the other. How do I mean? If the price of McLean goes up, becomes very expensive, what do people will do? People will shift to start buying what? Close-up, which means the quantity demand for close-up will increase, while the demand for McLean will decrease. Why? Because of increase in price, competition. But if they are jointly demanded, the increase in price of one may not affect the demand for the other, because both of them are needed to give you what? A full satisfaction utility. I hope I've communicated across to you very well. So before our time will run out, let's quickly look at some of these questions in JAMB that are coming up regularly. These are applied questions also that you need to understand the theory or the concept for you to answer the question. Okay? So please try to understand the question before you pick your options. Let's look at it together. According to the law of demand, what happens to the quantity demanded of a good when its price increases, assuming other factors remain constant? I just explained this to you now, that the major factor that affects the demand for a product is what? Is the price. There are other factors, but the major factor is what? Is price. So they are saying other factors are constant. They are the same, they don't change, but price increase. So if the price increase for a product, from what I just explained to you, law of demand, what do you think will happen? Quantity demand increase, quantity demand decrease, quantity demand remain constant, demand shift to demand. What will happen? The quantity demanded will decrease. Option B, it will decrease. Because of the law of demand, the higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded. Okay? Option B is the correct answer. Let's see the next question. Which of the following will cause a rightward shift of the demand curve for a normal good? A rightward shift. I just explained to you shift now. Okay? If you have this is original demand curve. This is D1, this is D2. Okay? This is rightwards. Right, your right hand. Rightward shift is also forward shift. It's also positive shift. Why? Because as you are coming here, there's increase in quantity demand. So he's saying, the question is saying that this rightward shift of demand curve for a normal good, a normal good means a regular good. What will happen? An increase in the price of the good. The price is going to increase. When we talk about shift, I mentioned that earlier. In shift, the price did not increase. The price is constant. It is other factors that brought about this shift. Taste, fashion, tax, weather, income. Very well. An increase in the price of the good, no. A decrease in consumer income, an increase in consumer income, an increase in production costs. What do you think would have caused this? That the shift for demand increase. An increase in consumer income. When consumer earn more, irrespective of the price, is the law of economy, is going to spend more, is going to buy more, is consuming more. So option C is the correct answer. Income. Price doesn't change, but income has changed. So it's affecting, bringing about positive increase in quantity demanded. Income. Option C. Let's see the next question. Anyway, if the price of a substitute good increases, what is the most likely effect on the demand for the original good? Maybe my original good is pig milk, I like it, all right? And it's my original good, and the substitute is lawyer milk. I'm not advertising for them, I'm just using as an instance, okay? So, the substitute is lawyer, this lawyer. So if the price of a substitute good increases, lawyer increases, what is the most likely effect on the demand for the original good? Pig. This is what you used to buy in place of this. But when the price of what you used to buy increases, what happens to pig? Demand decreases, demand remains unchanged, demand increases, supply increases. What do you think happens to demand? Demand of course will increase, because alternative you have got to go for has also increased. So the demand for the original product will increase. Well, viewers, I hope you have gotten value for your time today. and your data. Please subscribe to this channel, share the links with your friends so that you can get more value from us. And you can also check out some of our videos we have done in the past on some of these topics. We did in-depth analysis, although they were WAEC and NECO and NAPEP and JUPEP. Please check up on those videos and get yourself informed. Thank you for your time.
Hi, I'm sure you enjoyed the content you just watched. To see more episodes as that, preparing you for your oncoming exams, smash the subscribe button on this channel right now and visit the playlist that we've made for you, covering over 50 types of different exams.